welcome to our show today. I'm Lisa Swenson, and I'm here today with Becky Siekmeier, DFL endorsed candidate for State Senate in District 52. Becky, so glad you could be here with us today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Yes,
it's a pleasure.
Good to have you here. Would you care to start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Grant with my husband, John. We've been married 21 years, and we have an 11-year-old son who's currently in the Montemedi Middle School. He's his first year there. We are members at St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, and I'm on the environmental stewardship team there, and am involved in some of the Habitat for Humanity efforts. And my professional background is I worked at Best Buy for about 16 years and spent most of my time in advertising and marketing operations. I was responsible for concept development and process improvements, workflow improvements, and balancing a $7 million budget. I left there in February of 2009, and I'm currently back in school. I'm working on a master's degree at the Humphrey Institute at the university, and the university is also where I did my undergraduate work, and I was a student athlete there.
Oh, that's very interesting. How did you decide to get involved in politics and decide to run?
Well, that's kind of a long story. I've always I've been a little frustrated with the rhetoric and the tone and things at the Capitol, and it seemed like the two parties were moving further and further away. And I know that our current representative, the senator who currently represents our district, is more on the extreme side. And so I decided to jump in and do something about that. And I was also recruited by Rebecca Otto, our state auditor, to run.
Oh, and I love Rebecca Otto.
Yeah, she's great.
What a great job that she does.
Yeah, she's great.
That's really good to hear. And it takes us, many of us, to jump in and get our hands wet or feet wet or whatever and go for it.
Yes.
So good for you.
Thank you.
You know, I learned from someone on staff, and then you just happened to mention, that you were actually a Big Ten champion in track during college?
Oh, yes. I actually two-time Big Ten champion.
You're kidding?
No,
and wow.
All-American, kind of my glory days. It was a lot of fun. I was a discus thrower in the women's discus, and I competed in college and then for a few years afterwards, and my last competition was the U.S. Olympic trials in 1988.
Wow. So, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Not many achieve that in their college careers. Now let's turn back to your campaign. Tell me a little about your race and your opponent.
Sure. I'm in a very competitive three-way race, actually. There's a third-party candidate who, interestingly, was the former Senate District Chair of the Republican Party in my district. He was involved in party politics for about 20 years before he moved to the Independence Party. And the incumbent is a Republican who has been in government for 12 years. He was in the House and now in the Senate for the last 4. And for as much time as he spent in government, he really doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. He's one of the most extreme members of the Senate. If you look at his voting record, he is often the only senator voting no, or he's one of 3 or one of 8. In fact, I heard that there are some who call him Mikey. Do you remember the Life cereal commercials with the little boy?
Back
he
in
won't
the
eat it,
70s.
he hates everything.
Not that I'm old enough to remember, of course.
I'm just barely old enough. My older brother told me about it. Anyway, so they do, tease about that. You have to. That doesn't come just by itself. You have to have some kind of a reputation for that. And he's
certainly.
One example is he voted against banning BPA, which is a very harmful chemical, in baby bottles. He voted
against. Yes.
Yeah, he voted against that. And so, I think we need more balance and someone who is going to represent the district a little bit better than he does.
That's interesting, and interesting to hear what's going on in this race for you. What specifically have you been doing to understand the priorities of the people in your district?
Sure. Well, I've been knocking on a lot of doors. I've knocked on thousands since May, and I'm as a first-time candidate, I'm out introducing myself, letting people know that I'm running, and then asking them what their priorities are, what are their top concerns. And I can tell you that people in the district are frustrated. They're angry with government, they are tired of the partisan rhetoric, and there's definitely a strong anti-incumbent mood out there.
Oh, interesting. What issues are you finding are uniquely important to your district?
Well, I think that the issues are not necessarily unique just to my district. There are some, definitely, but the most important issues that people are concerned about are jobs and the economy. Of course, that comes up a lot. In my district, I know other things that come up as well are schools. People are concerned about school funding. They're concerned about property taxes, transportation, and a lot of small business owners in my district. And like a lot of other parts of Minnesota, there's a lot of lakes in the region, Lino Lakes and Centerville and Forest Lake. I mean, lake. And so then we got the St. Croix River. So people, White Bear Lake, people are very concerned about the environment. There's a lot of sportsmen, sportswomen. They want to make sure that we're taking care of our air and our water.
Sure. I wonder, and I wonder if our viewers would like to know how your business perspective has helped you in the decision going forward with so many budgetary issues facing the state.
Being at Best Buy was a really great experience. It's a fantastic company.
Yes.
And
Minnesota company.
Yeah, Minnesota company. And one of the things that Best Buy is really great about is process improvement.
Okay.
They feel that you're never really done. There's always a way to make more improvement. And one example that I can give is the Sunday insert program was something that I worked on early on at Best Buy. And when I started there many years ago, I worked there almost 17 years, I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
When that insert program started out, it took about 6 weeks to put that insert together. And by the time I left, we were down to about 10 days. And
oh, wow.
Since I left a year and a half ago, I'm not sure what their process timeline is now, but they knew that the closer they could get to the print date, the better, the more competitive they could be with their pricing and that kind of thing. And so understanding that there's always room for improvement, and that when you ask the people who are closest to the level of delivery where they think they can make change, that's usually the best place to start.
That is so interesting. Would you say that you could use that skill and that knowledge in your work, should you become elected, to help improve processes throughout our state, maybe through government and through services and things like that?
I would hope so, because I think one of the things that we need to do as a state is to be looking at where we can find efficiencies. And you hear people talk about that all the time, and I know some of that work has already started at the county level and certainly at the state. But yes, that's something I think would transfer well.